Welcome to The Value Shot. I'm Jeffrey D. Brown, publisher and editor of Guitar Business World. Now, these 16 original episodes were featured at the back of the show on Guitar Business Radio, where I talked about some basic foundational building blocks that you can use to help drive your business or career to the next level. Those segments have now been edited and repackaged for presentation here on GBW. They're short and full of simple but really powerful ideas you can put to use right now. I suggest listening to them in sequence to get the most out of them. So let's get to it. Well, as we continue our discussion on taking your business or career to the next level, let's remember that the first thing we talked about was establishing and clarifying your vision. We also understand that visions can change over time. And so it's important to keep our eye on the larger destination so that as the vision evolves, it supports the grander journey that we're on. Next, I talked about implementing your vision and identified 3 characteristics that, in my opinion, are critical to the process. Those are attitude, focus, and knowledge. Further, I showed you how each characteristic is divided into 3 elements. Now, in the last episode, I started a new discussion about leveraging your knowledge. And remember, knowledge, as I see it here, involves its 3 elements: skills, resources, and experience. So last week, I got into leveraging your skills, looking at it from both an internal as well as an external perspective. And today, I'm going to delve into the next element, which is resources. But first, you may be asking, how do I keep track of all these things? How do I make them work for me or my business? And those are normal and totally legitimate questions. Part of the answer is, of course, practice. And if you're a player, you understand that principle well. And you know that you don't become a great player or even a good player overnight. And as you've heard me say before, incremental success is gradual, sequential, and cumulative. This is an idea I learned myself from a good friend and teacher many years ago. So that's why I'm providing you with these foundational building blocks that you can, over time, integrate into your thinking. And once we're a little further down the road, I'll be making available to you some additional reference material that should help you do just that. So let's talk a little bit about leveraging your resources. As a reminder, I'm referring to resources that are available to you to help take care of the things you don't know how to do, or don't have the time to do, or just don't want to do. And in this case, we're talking about knowledge-related resources. First, we'll look at the internal aspects, and you'll, of course, want to identify what those resources are in your particular situation. Some of the obvious possibilities would be people, such as employees, associates, interns, consultants, contractors, or maybe even vendors. In the non-people category, you can think of machinery and automation, or information tools, or applications. These are all things that function within the confines of your everyday business. So how do we leverage those internal resources? Well, first and foremost, and you've heard me say this before, prioritization. You should develop a comfortable understanding of the value relationship between the resource and the related outcome that it's attached to. You can do this in whatever way is most useful for you. I always like to create spreadsheets, but writing it down in almost any format is generally better than trying to just store it in your head. And once you have that understanding firmly entrenched, I guarantee you it will be much easier to make decisions on how to apply those resources and get the most out of them. This will also help you to determine if a particular resource is the most appropriate for the job or purpose at hand. Now, what about those external resources? And what does that mean anyway? Well, let's think first in terms of companies and organizations. That could be vendors or suppliers, industry associations, media companies, and of course, the big one, social media. You may also find individuals outside of your business or personal career to be resources. Who might they be? Well, if you're a guitar-related business, it might be players who use your product, or it could be someone who has influence in an area that might be beneficial. And there's certainly more to that which we can discuss in more depth later on, but again, how do you leverage these external resources? And at the risk of repeating myself again, priority rules. Start there. Understand the value of these resources and where and how they affect your business or career. Believe me, organizing this information in a simple manner like this gives you great clarity of thought and empowers you to make better decisions about the usefulness and utilization of resources. You may even discover that some resources are not resources at all and can be eliminated, all of which is healthy management. You know, there is so much information out there on all these subjects by so many different people. It's difficult enough to want to make changes to the way we do things, even when we know we need to. Even if you decide that you need to improve the way you operate in order to move the ball forward, finding the right course of action can be absolutely mind-boggling. That being said, I want you to know that I'm keenly aware of that challenge. That's why I'm giving this information to you in this manner. Small, digestible bites that can be absorbed and remembered easily. And while all of these pieces are indeed part of a larger picture, like I've said before, you can pretty much use each one of them on their own in various ways. And again, as we help you build this improved foundation, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have along the way to fill in some blanks if they exist. All you have to do is ask, and that's pretty easy to do. As always, and you can probably say this with me, stay positive, stay focused on the destination, and keep all the options open on how you're going to get there. Well, I hope you got some value from that, but I do want to emphasize again the need to listen in sequence. And just so you know, there are brand new episodes of The Value Shot on the way, so be sure you're subscribed to Guitar Business World here on Substack to get those, as well as new editorial features and valuable resources. As always, we love to hear from you with questions or thoughts. You can contact us directly at guitarbusiness@substack.com. guitarbusiness@substack.com. I'm Jeffrey D. Brown. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.